Cutting the crap in 2025. What it takes to actually level up. Resolutions are cute. Discipline is better. Introduction. Why most people stay stuck. Every new year, people do the same thing. They set big goals. This is the year I finally get my life together. They make vision boards. I'm manifesting success. They get hyped up on motivation. New year, new me. And by February, the gym is empty. The goals are forgotten. The same excuses resurface. Why? Because most people don't actually want to change. They just want the feeling of progress without the work. Before we get into it, let's start at the foundation. This episode is for people who have already listened to the last 11 episodes, each about 5 to 15 minutes long, or less. If you haven't, you're skipping steps. And that's exactly why most people never level up. Think of these episodes as building a foundation. You wouldn't build a house on shifting sand, so why would you try to change your life without a solid base? You wouldn't jump straight to lifting heavy without mastering form, so why would you jump into big goals without reworking your mindset? Each of these past 11 episodes covered critical mental shifts that most people never make. And also, my episode about dodging accountability, I accidentally didn't render the whole thing, so it's been updated. It should be 18 minutes long, not 12 minutes long, and so if you were listening and it cut off, go back and have another listen. But anyways, moving forward. 1. The glass door problem, breaking through the invisible limits you don't even see. 2. The learned helplessness epidemic, how to stop making excuses and reclaim control. 3. AI and the silent hijacking of identity, spotting where you're being influenced without realizing it. 4. The self-agency paradox, why real control requires flexibility, not rigidity. 5. When strength is just noise, the difference between looking strong and actually being strong. 6. The extremely self-centered vampire myth, protecting yourself from energy-draining people. 7. The psychology of people who can't take accountability, how to spot and avoid those who refuse to grow. Episode 8, how to spot the moment you're becoming the problem, recognizing when the issue is you. Episode 9, the right question at the right time, how asking better questions changes everything. Episode 10, the bullshit of their truth versus reality, filtering through the noise to stand in objective truth. And Episode 11, medication, society, and the misunderstood middle ground, how to balance external influences and personal responsibility. If you've gone through these episodes, absorbed them, and done the work, then you're ready for this next step. If you haven't, go back and listen. Otherwise, you're just playing yourself. Because this episode isn't about starting over, it's about cutting the crap and actually leveling up. This episode is for people who are done with the bullshit. We're getting into the brutal truth about why most people fail to change, how to shift your identity, not just your habits, the difference between motivation and execution, and the exact steps to stop planning and start leveling up. If you're tired of making the same empty promises to yourself, this is how you actually move forward. So if you haven't watched the 11 episodes, stop, rewind, go back, listen to the other 11 episodes, and then come back here. But if you have, welcome back. So let's get into it. 1. Why most people never change, even when they want to. Here's the cold, hard truth. Most people don't lack motivation. They lack discipline and identity shifts. They think change happens like this. Number 1, set a goal. Number 2, get motivated. Number 3, do the work. Number 4, succeed. But in reality, change happens like this. Number 1, confront the brutal truth of why you're still stuck. Number 2, detach from the identity that's keeping you there. Number 3, restructure your mindset so failure isn't an option. Number 4, do the work consistently, especially when it's boring. Number 5, become the type of person who doesn't quit. Change doesn't start with a goal, it starts with who you are willing to become. 2, the identity shift. Who do you actually want to be? Here's why most resolutions fail. People try to change their actions without changing their identity. They say, for example, I want to lose weight, instead of I am someone who takes care of my body. They say, I want to make more money, instead of I am the type of person who does whatever it takes to increase my income. They say, I want to read more, instead of saying, I am someone who prioritizes learning. If your identity is still tied to who you've been, you'll always fall back into old patterns. Because when shit gets hard, your brain defaults to the person it knows best, the version of you that quit before. And here's the real mindfuck. Your brain will even lie to you about why you're quitting. It'll tell you that walking away is growth, when it's really avoidance. It'll convince you that being alone is strength, when it's actually fear of facing your own gaps. It'll whisper that you deserve better, when you never even tried to be better in the relationship, the job, or the goal you abandoned. Some people get so good at running that they mistake running for progress. But real growth, it doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in the mirror. You don't try to be disciplined, you become someone who just is disciplined. But before you start chasing the next version of yourself, ask yourself this. The person who has the life I want, are they actually happy? What don't I see them posting on social media? Am I idolizing their highlight reel while ignoring their reality? Do I even fully understand the sacrifices it takes to get what they have? Most people just don't. They chase what looks good, not what actually feels right for them. And then they wonder why they're still miserable when they get there. And just like that, you've fallen for the dream again, another victim of chasing the illusion instead of the reality. That's what this episode is about. So before you envy someone's success, do the real research. What does their day actually look like? What are they trading away to maintain that life? Are they truly fulfilled or just good at playing the part? Because if you don't actually and fully truly understand the cost, don't you dare complain about the price. And if your answer to all of this is still deflection, excuses, or blame, or, all of the above, congratulations, you just found the very thing keeping you stuck. Because people who actually truly level up don't spend their time justifying why they're standing still. They own their shit, and then they fix it. 3. The execution formula. Motivation is overrated. Look, motivation is garbage. It wears off, it fluctuates, it makes you feel productive without actually doing anything. What you actually need is a system that forces execution. Here's how to stop waiting for motivation and actually get shit done. 1. Reduce friction between you and the action. People make excuses because starting is the hardest part. You want to work out? Lay your gym clothes out the night before. You want to eat better? Pre-cook meals so you don't reach for garbage. Do you want to write more? Set a 10-minute timer and force yourself to start. Do you want a real relationship? Stop waiting for the perfect person and start being the kind of person who can build something real. That means communicating when it's uncomfortable, working through problems instead of running from them, and actually showing up instead of just expecting love to just happen to you. Make taking action so easy that it's harder to avoid than to just do it. 2. Set brutal deadlines. Look, most people set goals with no urgency. I want to get in shape this year. That's too vague. I will lose 10 pounds in 60 days. Better, but still not great. I will weigh 195 pounds by April 1st, and if I don't, I'm paying $500 to a cause I hate. Now, there's real pressure. Now let's talk about relationships, because most people treat them with even less urgency than their fitness goals. Like monkeys with smartphones, they burn their prefrontal cortexes on distractions instead of actually building something real. I want a healthy relationship. Well, that's too vague. I'll start dating with intention when I'm ready. Well, sounds smart, but if you don't define ready, you'll keep waiting forever. I will actively build a real relationship by showing up consistently, communicating even when it's hard, and cutting out the cycles that have kept me stuck. Okay, now you're actually taking ownership. If you're waiting for the perfect person or the perfect time, you're just negotiating with yourself. Relationships don't just happen, they require conscious effort, just like literally anything else worth having. And if you let a good one go in a relationship, for the love of everything holy, don't do that shit again, you dolt. People who accept you, flaws and all, while still pushing themselves to grow, don't just fall out of the fucking sky. You don't get infinite retries on that level. But if someone threw you away thinking they were making the right move, that wasn't a loss. That was dead weight cutting itself loose. Because here's the truth, you probably would have stayed, maybe forever, even if it meant carrying all the weight of the relationship yourself. But look, no matter how much potential someone has, if they aren't willing to grow, then they aren't your person. So count yourself lucky. Look, some people walk away thinking they've won when all they really did was save you from a future where you were too loyal to walk away from the relationship yourself. And that's just reality. And for the other people, still think you're better off alone? Maybe check out the social media profiles of those who constantly post about protecting their peace and cutting out people who no longer serve them. You'll find that they are literally the failed NPCs of the modern world, to put it nicely. The ones who think leveling up means running away instead of doing the work. You gotta make it painful to fail, otherwise you'll keep bullshitting yourself. Not failing in a tragic or awful way, but in a way that actually holds you accountable. If you struggle with failure as an issue, maybe this move isn't for you, but the point is to set a real goal and follow through. So make it count. Number 3, track every action, not just the outcome. Most people measure results, but the real trick is to measure what actually creates results. You want to lose weight? Track workouts and meals, not just the scale. Do you want to make more money? Track calls, pitches, and skills, not just income. Do you want to build discipline? Well, track how many times you followed through, not just the end goal. By tracking what you control, you stay focused on execution, not just results. And as a side note, just remember, these episodes that I write and publish, they're for me too. There's definitely some self-programming in there, which is an awesome thing. Number 4, accept that you will suck before you succeed, and that you will suck again. Dare to suck. Another reason people quit? They expect to be good at things immediately. The first time you work out, you will feel weak. The first time you write, it will be bad. The first time you launch a business, you'll probably fail. It's like 90% of small businesses fail in the first 2 years, last I checked. And that's normal. But most people quit here. They tell themselves, well, I guess I'm just not meant for this. Wrong, 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 wrong. The people who succeed aren't the most talented. They're the ones who are willing to suck at something long enough to get good at it. And they are willing to suck at it again if they haven't done it in a while. That's the nature of life. So stop quitting because you're bad at something. That's just part of the process. The no bullshit guide to actually leveling up. Look, if you want real change in 2025 and beyond, here's what it actually takes. 1, decide who you want to become. Not what goals you want to hit, not what habits you want to build. Those will come along with the person you want to be. Who do you want to be? The kind of person who follows through no matter what? The kind of person who doesn't quit when it's inconvenient? The kind of person who builds real self-respect through action? Once you make this decision, everything else falls into place. 2, make action non-negotiable. You don't try to go to work. You don't try to pay your bills. You just do it because it's non-negotiable. Your goals should ideally work the same way. Commit to action whether you feel like it or not. 3, cut the dead weight. You can't level up if you're still dragging around the same excuses, toxic people, and distractions. If your circle is full of complainers, level up your environment. If your time is wasted scrolling, delete the apps. If you keep falling into the same bad habits, change your routine. Your life will not change until you remove those things keeping you stuck. Setting boundaries versus burning bridges. When it comes to cutting dead weight, you don't always have to go nuclear. You almost never do, actually. Not everyone needs to be cut off entirely. Most people don't. Some people just need to be kept at arm's length. Setting boundaries isn't the same thing as setting barriers, because again, setting boundaries keeps the right people in. Setting barriers keeps everyone out. Toxic complainers? Distance yourself. Chronic energy drainers? Let them figure their own shit out. People always asking for money? Stop being their ATM. Not everyone needs a hard cutoff. Most people don't. But if you have someone who consistently brings negativity, excuses, or chaos into your life, then keeping them close is a liability, not loyalty. Dealing with the truly toxic without, and this is important, becoming like them. Now, if you're dealing with someone who is genuinely manipulative, the kind of person who preys on others, twists narratives, or thrives on control, that's different. Here's the thing. Real narcissists are very predictable. That's their weakness. They run the same playbook over and over again, and you can see it coming from a mile away. And yeah, you could exploit that weakness, but if you do, you become part of the game, and that makes you no better than them. The healthier move? Detach, stop engaging, move on. Let them fade into irrelevance. Don't let their dysfunction become your problem. But here's where people mess up. They ghost people instead of having the hard conversation. They cut people off without ever giving them a chance to fix it. They walk away thinking they won when they really just ran. If someone matters enough to have been part of your life, then they deserve clarity. If you're stepping back, tell them why. If they don't fix it, hey, that's on them. But at least they had the chance. A quick note for the self-centered. Yeah, you. For the self-serving types out there, the ones who struggle with emotional empathy, maybe this will make more sense to you. You never know who's going to be your boss someday. Even if you work for yourself, you never know who's going to be your next paying customer. You can get far in life by manipulating, controlling, and using people, but the moment you run out of pawns, you're screwed. So even if your only motivation to be a better person is because it benefits you, fine, whatever gets you to actually work on yourself. But just know this, nobody actually needs you. You're not as irreplaceable as you think. People tolerate you, that's not the same as valuing you. You can keep playing the game, but eventually you run out of players. And when that day comes, the only person left to manipulate is yourself. So either do the work now or find out the hard way. Your call. Because let's be honest, just like no one will look out for you better than you, you don't have to live with anyone more than you have to live with yourself. It's not like anyone else has to. But there I go with that logic again. Pesky, pesky logic. So the final thing is to build proof of who you are. Every time you follow through, you're proving to yourself that you're actually different and not one of the stereotypes your ego makes you believe you are not. Your ego will make you believe that you're not a stereotype, but let's see, if you were to write down everything you objectively did bullet point by bullet point in the order that you did it in, and then read that back to yourself, you'll figure out really quick whether you're the toxic one or not, or the emotionally codependent one or not, or whatever you have going on. Journaling is good. So again, every time you follow through, you're proving to yourself that you're actually different and not one of the stereotypes your ego makes you believe that you are not. So for example, every workout is proof that you're someone who trains. Every time you say no to excuses, it's proof you're disciplined. Every day you execute, it's proof that you've already changed. The more proof you build, the harder it is to go back. Final takeaway. Make 2025 and beyond the year of relentless execution. At the end of the day, leveling up is simple, but it's not easy. It's a series of decisions, and none of them are comfortable. So make them. Decide who you want to be. Make action non-negotiable. Cut the dead weight. Build proof through execution. So before you close this episode, do one thing that forces action. Write down your first move. Delete the app that's wasting your time. Schedule the thing that you've been putting off. Start now, because the next year is always coming, no matter what. The only difference is whether you're ahead of it or still standing in the same place.